This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teen accounts.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
Proceed to your post assignment. All units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! Mic in the room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Artists with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. From the fight, to the end. We are the MisFitNation. No damn labels, no damn cages. If you're still bullets in the chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed. That's the misfit play. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. It's Thrapp right now. We're the more than you know. 9888, don't walk alone. Veterans press one, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We are the Misfit Nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fire, from the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. Every voice is vindication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong. You belong. You belong. Oh wait, you. Oh wait, what? Oh wait, you belong.
All right. Welcome back to the Misfit Nation and the Thursday after dinner edition. This week has been kind of chaotic. We started with the Super Bowl, so you kind of lose your mind a little bit. You lose what days which, and you forget what days are supposed to happen when. So you wind up doing things on one day you're not supposed to be doing to the next. It'll all catch up by the time February is over, which is in just 2 weeks now. Now we have the Olympics in full strength, full rotations now. Skeleton events going on right now. If you're in that event, if you're a skeleton racer, hats off to you. That is one crazy event. Head first down, 78 miles an hour, down ice. It's amazing that you do it. Amazing athletes. Let's go USA. Keep racking up them medals. Tonight, as we speak about sports, we have a great guest coming on. We welcome Gary Thrapp, a coach, parent, and community leader with over 40 years of experiencing using youth sports to build character and leadership. He has managed more than 50,000 games, raised 4 successful children through competition, and continues to provide free sports programs for kids in his community. This conversation is about doing youth sports the right way. So without further ado, let's welcome Gary Thrapp to the Misfit Nation. Welcome, Gary.
Well, hey, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's great to have you here. And with the Olympics going on, I'm sure you have one eye on that as well as everyone else, checking out all those athletes doing the great things for not just themselves, but most of them are doing it for their countries.
Which we love. I mean, we love seeing everybody out there representing their countries in a positive way. So, yeah, it's cool to see these people just reach elite status.
Yes, and I've been sitting with my granddaughter the last few days where I taught her luge for 2 days, and then today skeleton came on, and she's like, "Oh my, I want to do that." I said, "Oh no, you're not doing that under my watch." But I like both those events, but she's just too little to do that right now.
She'll get ready. She'll be there.
And I noticed a lot of them are a lot older. They're about in their 30s. A lot of the skeleton competitors, I guess that's their second sport, their second chance at Olympic status. So it's awesome to see them get that, know that they want to do it, want to stay in the I guess the arena and just keep competing. And so it's awesome to see that. That's something that's built on from a young age. And I want you to just tell us a little more about you, Gary, from as far back as you want to go, how you got into this drive to be in youth sports to how we got here.
Really just loved it when I was young, playing sports. It was a good escape for me for what was happening at school, maybe, at home from time to time. And so I used it to really use energy. It kept me off the streets. It kept me busy, used up my energy. And so from there, when you have 4 kids, like my wife and I had, then we dove into it from a coaching standpoint. And we were willing and able with our kids, just use youth sports in a very positive way. We went coast to coast with them, just looking for different opportunities for them to use youth sports to get good at something and to learn valuable lessons. So then 20 years ago, purchased a youth sports facility, still wondering why, right? But that's where things amped up in a big way over the last 20 years of conducted somewhere around 800 youth sporting events. So that's kind of like why I look like I do. I've been through that for 20 years. So, and we've been doing it on the front lines every day. It hasn't been, oh yeah, give us a call if you have any problems and have somebody else run it. We've been running it for 20 years. So we just love doing it.
You say you've been doing it on the front lines. Have you had other managers come in to help you, or you just don't want to get away from it? You feel like if you get away from it, you won't be part of it anymore.
Primarily, we've been doing it on our own. Just recently, we started picking up a person that has been doing our basketball events. So we primarily do basketball and volleyball. We do some multi-sport type stuff, but he's been running some basketball stuff for us, and I've been using my energy in a little bit different direction to try to help improve youth sports for everyone. So yeah, but primarily over the 20 years, it's been us doing it every day. From January 1 through probably mid-March, we would work every day that stretch, every single day. No breaks.
That's nuts. It's dedication, and you're helping the greater good that comes out of what you're doing is not seen right away from where you are, but you can see it later when some of those athletes or those young men and women come back and they are successful in life and they come back and say, thank you for that push I needed on the court back then. Or, thank you. Just that one time you just put your hand on my back and said, hey, good job.
Agreed. And, we love when we get that feedback, certainly, but when you're driven and you're doing good work, regardless of whether anybody says thank you or not, you're doing the right thing. So, but that's awesome too. But we just love helping kids, helping people have opportunities to use youth sports, regardless of what their background is. There are so many different approaches to youth sports, so we try to take that positive approach with our kids that are here, and just to give them a good opportunity to be as successful as our kids have been when they went through the process. So
that's outstanding. And I know when my daughter was little and they needed coaches in the volunteer leagues around the bases we were at Fort Riley especially, they would always say, hey, which dad would do it? And my wife would say, my husband will do it. Before even asking me, I was already voluntold to do it, not caring that I have a job besides to do it. So I wound up coaching soccer, never played soccer before in my life. And there I am coaching b-ball, watching little kids run around the ball because I don't know what I'm doing. And they obviously just want to kick the ball and be around the ball. And then learning the game and learning to love soccer the way it's supposed to be loved. And now I go, whenever we get a chance, me and my daughter, my grown daughter now, we go to the USA women's team when they come to Nashville. Every time we go see them. So we're
nice
enthusiasts now after me starting off having zero knowledge of soccer, becoming a coach. We won a championship in Korea and then coming back to the States and kind of just sitting on the sidelines because she was in that high school age. So she was having high school coaches and such. So my last time coaching was when we were in Korea in about 2009, 2010. I do miss coaching, but now I mentor at a different level.
Yeah, and I just love doing it. I kind of felt when I first started, got in a situation in high school where I coached a young team. Our high school coach required us to do that for our basketball team. So that really sparked the energy and the feeling that I enjoyed doing it, and I was halfway decent at it. So then it just amped up from there, of course, and just taking that approach where even whether you know the sport or not, or you played the sport or not, it's still really important to do research and see, develop strategies on what works and what doesn't work. So as you can imagine, this last 20 years in particular has been like learning ground on just watching some of the difficult things that happen to kids from parents, coaches, anyone there, right? To things that are just amazing that happen. And so trying to manage that can be very difficult because you get a lot of different approaches in a particular event, but been able to really make some good headway, I think.
And I bet with, like you said, all the noise that's out there in youth sports, especially over the last 20 years, the things that have come out in the media and such, you not only are you dealing with listening to that, now you have parents worrying, is that happening to my kids in your facility? Or how do we stop that from happening? And then you have all these other noise, but you still just want to do that one thing, is mentor that youth to be the best they can at that sport, but be ultimately to be good humans as they grow older.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things as a parent, as an adult, of course, is to watch over what's happening in the gym and what's happening in every youth sports event that you have, regardless of whether your child's playing or not. You want to be that person that's not a bystander, but very actively involved in making sure it's a good, positive situation. Or if negative things do happen, you want to be there to clean that up. Because so often we might witness bad things happen, but our kids have no clue what just happened. And what I see often is a parent will literally explain to the kid, in detail what just happened, when the child doesn't really need to know that necessarily. So there's so many elements of developing and providing a good youth sports experience for every child that's what motivates me to continue to do what I do.
And that's a good motivator, I believe. And having been a coach and having been the dad in the stands, I've heard the stuff gets yelled from the stands, and it's not fun listening to that a lot of times. How did you start to coach people to just zero that out in their heads, to say, look, just play the game and do what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about the noise.
Yeah, it's really challenging because I do love the passion.
Right.
You hate to slow the passion down. And one thing that I really like to emphasize is that any event you are at, even though there are so many different approaches out there, some are very quiet, some scream and yell uncontrollably, some do it in a positive way, some do it in a very negative way. I try to build off of the common denominator, and that is everybody's there supporting their child. And when, as an event coordinator, as an example, when you start with that common denominator, then you can kind of move mountains when it comes to helping slow down difficult situations. And not easy to do, but one thing I emphasize to parents that like to preach a lot, like to lecture a lot, talk a lot during the contest, is that keep in mind the child may not have a clue what you're saying.
Right.
They can't assess all that. They get the energy, whether it's positive or negative, but they may not have a clue what you're saying. One perfect example in the basketball world is how often when you're listening to a third grade game, you hear attack, 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 right? I mean, that's just something everybody says.
Right.
I will ask, and I encourage the parents to ask their child after the game what attack means and see if they can explain it. Most can't. They have no clue what it means. So here we're using knowledge of watching maybe an NBA game or, a club game or Olympics game, and we assume that our kid's going to know exactly what we're talking about when we are trying to explain it. So got to think a little differently when we're teaching our young people.
Yes. And like you said, there's so many approaches to being in that coaching box. Sometimes people look up to that one coach that they had, or one coach that they watched on TV growing up that is their idol, is the one that they want to be like, emulate. Was there one that you wanted to emulate as you were crossing over from being an athlete to being a coach?
Oh, not necessarily. I remember, like you, I'm sure we remember those coaches in the past that had a positive effect on you and that motivated you a little bit to do better, and those that really diminished your enthusiasm for playing a sport. So what I tried to do is use that motivation to learn good quality strategies that work for other people. So I literally watched a lot of videos when I first started coaching. I read a lot of books. I went to different trainings just to get a sense of how this works. I just didn't want to assume I knew everything. I like to learn new strategies constantly. As old as I am now, I still like to watch and learn from other coaches. So I can't say there was one or two people necessarily. I mean, gosh, watch a college game in any sport. So often they're screaming and yelling. And that's something I don't suggest doing in third, fourth, fifth grade. Those guys are making the millions of dollars. Our coaches here might want to take a little bit different approach. So they have high expectations and already have people making millions. Our third through fifth aren't quite there yet. So got to take a little bit different approach.
You kind of take a step back and meet them where they are. And
Yeah.
it's a thing. A lot of coaches that are used to doing that hands-on approach and yelling and screaming, if they take that step back and go back to say third through fifth, that's a hard step. That's a hard place to meet them. From if you're at any other level to come back down there to meet them where they're basically just learning a sport or just learning to love the sport at third grade and through fifth grade. And you're at that point there, like you just said, if you teach them wrong or do something wrong there, they'll never want to touch that sport again.
Yeah, and that's the biggest challenge because every child these days can be motivated a little bit differently. I know coaches, old school coaches in the past, when I grew up, they kind of had my way or the highway type. And these days, that's more difficult to do because keeping in mind what these kids are exposed to through social media, through their phones, TV, whatever, they're exposed to so many things that we didn't have a clue about when we were young.
Right.
That even emphasizes more that you want to use youth sports to have a positive influence on them, maybe a way to release. And if you combine maybe that negativity they're seeing on their phones and social media, if you combine that with negativity coaching them, why would they want to do it? So we got to be real careful these days. I think it's a whole different world now coaching young kids than it was maybe when we grew up.
And when we grew up, you can turn things off. Now there's no turning anything off. They're on all the time. And that's where the bullying monster comes in. When we were little, you might have got bullied at school, but when you leave school, it's over.
Yeah.
Now they get bullied in person and then cyber bullied the rest of the day. So there's no way to get out of it and that negativity in their minds. So parents now have a much tougher job than our parents did, because our parents could just meet those other parents and say, "Hey, what's wrong with your kid?" And this is what, and they'll talk it out. Now you don't know who that cyber bully is, or you don't know who's on the other side of the little box that's being the keyboard commando at that time, doing bad things, or not letting your kid rest because they're pushing them so hard. It's a lot harder now for a parent and a coach.
It really is, to know what level to push your child. I mean, we all want to do that pushing, that positive pushing, but every one of our 4 children, we had to take a little bit different approach with, because even within the same household, they all had different interests. They all had, different responses to coaching. And so now you look at big picture and coaching a team with kids coming from a variety of different families, man, you really got to have your eyes and ears open all the time. So as a coach these days, where I have the most success is when I ask a lot of questions. I keep my mouth shut and let them talk. Let kids talk. That I can't emphasize that enough. I do less talking and more listening and watching to help know how to motivate that child to be a little bit better. And so important, because realistically, so many coaches feel like they have to talk more to convince people that they know what they're doing. And so I'm not in that camp. I'm more so over time, see how your kid improves. Now that's a tougher sell, but that's the approach I take.
But it's an approach that you've learned works. And sometimes listening to hear instead of listening to speak is the best way to do things. Listen to what that young athlete is telling you without even if they're not saying words. You can listen to what they're doing, watch what they're doing, and understand what the next steps you have to do are. Or if they say, "Hey, coach, I just don't get it. I don't understand this. Can you show me a different way?" That helps a lot more than you just yelling at them for no reason.
Absolutely. And one approach I take is, like during a game, you want kids to feel like it's okay that they make mistakes, obviously, because everybody does. And that's one of the biggest challenges to help a young person overcome, is that making mistakes, because sometimes they are overly lectured if they make any mistakes whatsoever. So then that just freezes them. So what I do, rather than during games, I rarely comment on mistakes. I'll just ask, what did they see? What just happened? And let them talk through it. They may not even know they made a mistake. Right. And I mean, it's amazing. So we have to really coach at the level that kids understand when we are coaching. And that's a tough one. I don't see a lot of in the youth coaching world that I try to make a difference with, and in the different coaches orientations that I do, and helping develop new coaches.
Definitely. And understand, like you've been saying, you got to understand who you're teaching, and you have 4 children. One might be just 100% you, one might be 100% your wife, and then the other 2 might be a mixture of both in different capacities. So you don't know what's going to work with each one of them, and your approach to the one that's just like your wife may not work the way talking to your wife does, because it's a totally different person. And we have to learn that, as even without taking the youth out of the equation, even talking to anyone else, no 2 people are the same. You got to
Right.
learn to meet people where they are and have that kind of intelligence, social intelligence, to understand that there's way more approaches in life to get the same mission accomplished. You can coach the starting 5, you can coach each one of them starting 5 differently and still be successful.
Yeah, now you take that same thought process while you're conducting an event and you have hundreds of people in, all passionate about wanting their kid to be the best in a very diverse crowd coming from different directions of the country, to watch them play that have different approaches. And then imagine having something happen that's negative. How do you approach it?
Right.
Because, what's okay for some folks is not okay for others. So as a tournament event manager, I have had to develop strategies to help calm things down. But they work. And I've so far, knock on wood, I've been pretty successful in our events and keeping things going. Now, having said that, over the last weekend, I get complaints all the time about what should have happened and what happened. It's kind of like I compare it to, imagine owning a shoe company or a shoe store, and you're guaranteed when people come in your door, half of them are going to be mad when they leave.
Yes.
How long would you stay in business? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in the youth sports world, automatically you have upset people, typically because more than half of them lost games.
Yep.
So dealing with that type of intensity can be quite interesting.
And those who lose usually don't just blame the fundamentals on it. They'll blame the organization that put on the event or the officiating. That's the reason you lose.
Yeah.
It's never the team's fault. It's someone else's.
They look for outside excuses, which ultimately does hurt the child. Yes. I want the child to feel like they are in control of their future. They are in control of their success. If I share with them, I'm mad because the refs were bad, the lighting was bad, that dang ball you used wasn't round enough, that automatically takes the child out of the picture, because regardless of what effort they gave, they would have lost. So that's a key, and I don't see that near enough. I had one grandma in here, I remember as clear as day, after her grandchild lost a game, the coach just had a team meeting and just reamed everything. And it got all the kids upset. I heard the grandma, after the child came up and was half crying, the grandma said, "Get over it and keep working." End of story.
That's it.
That was simple. Coach just gave a 15-minute, world-class speech on how the world was coming to an end and it's everybody else's fault, and grandma fixed it in about 5 words.
Get over it and learn from it, and let's go.
Get over it. Move on.
Wow,
that's priceless.
Yes. Jake, he's one of our Tuesday crew guys. He chimed in: be patient and teach fundamentals.
It's patient aggression. I call it patient aggression. And he also included another thing in there, is fundamentals, technique. Those things are easy to say. They're not easy to teach. How you teach a college athlete a sport, and then your approach at professional level is one thing. Most of those coaches would not know how to develop fundamentals necessarily in a 3rd and 4th grader.
Right.
They don't have that experience. Just like the 3rd and 4th grade coach doesn't have the experience of how to take an NBA caliber or professional athlete and make them even better. 2 different worlds. So saying fundamentals, saying technique are easy, but actually knowing what will help your child get better and doing it day after day after day is huge. And there's not a lot of coaches in any sport that really understand that.
That's where consistency comes in too, as a coach, and as a parent, if the coach is teaching them on Mondays and Wednesdays is the only days they get to coach them, the parent usually needs to step up if they want their kid to stay in that level or move up, to be consistent and teach them the same things on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that they have it in their head all the time, muscle memory.
Yeah, no doubt. Out of our 4 kids, what helped them bypass a lot of other athletes that they were competing with and against was not necessarily their practice work. When their team had a practice, it was what they did at home.
Yep.
I mean, we were working basements. We were working out in the alley. I had our kids shoveling snow out in the alley so they could get some work done out there.
Nice.
All right. So, I mean, you want to bypass someone, don't complain. You outwork them. Just like in anything in life, you got to outwork them. We're not going to hand you an NBA star. We're not going to hand you a professional athlete. You have to earn it. And that's one thing, you know, social media and videos don't really do for us very well. We see the highlights. We see the end result a lot more than we see the process. And so it's harder for us to convince our kids that these world-class athletes were doing something every single day to get to that point.
Right.
You just see a highlight. So that's a tough one. That's a tough one to convince the kids, the commitment that it takes.
That highlight or the 58-second run on whatever event they're doing here in the Winter Olympics. But to get that 58-second run, it's years and years of dedication and long hours, and knowing that you have to go through it every day, through the pain, through the suffering, through the missing other things that other kids are doing because you want to get the sport down pat to get that 58 seconds. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And then another element of that even, I mean, focuses our attention on even more is just talking to a professional athlete not long ago. And he was so focused on his sport. It happened to be baseball. So focused on his technique, on being the best, on reaching the highest levels. When baseball was done, he had no clue what he was going to do. He had no plan B. He didn't fit in anything that he was doing because he was on a rail. And sure, that helped him reach the highest levels. But then what we try to help our kids understand is you got to have plan A, B, C, and D. Don't get focused on just one of those things. Like a sport, we're all professional athletes when we're born, right?
Yep.
You got to have plan A, B, C, and D. And that's what I ask kids all the time. What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to play professional sports. Okay, what else you want to do? Chances are that won't happen. I'm not going to keep you from that happening, but I better have some other plans as well, just in case.
That made me think of Todd Marinovich, USC quarterback. His dad just pumped football into him for his whole life. Wouldn't let him eat anything other than health foods or the foods to get him through sports. And then once he graduated USC, went to the pros, and he was exposed to all that stuff that goes on in the pros. He just fell out.
Yeah.
Because now he's eating crap. He's doing drugs. He's drinking with the guys. All these things he never did before. He didn't know anything else in life but football up to that point. Now all this was thrown at him. All he could do is say yes because I want to be part of this team. And have that 22-year-old kid now that is a kid still because that's all he did was football and is burnt out. And that's a bad news. That's a sad story. And that's what happens, just like you said. If that's all you do is pump in, you're going to be a basketball player, then you break your leg. What are you going to do after that?
Yeah. I even had a college coach here recently tell me that he had a 6'8" kid who's one of the better players on the team, but he just doesn't do extra work. He doesn't go to weightlifting. He doesn't, do like what the rest of the guys work. And you know what his comment was? He said, if the kid only wanted it as much as his dad did, he'd be a heck of a good player. But he didn't really like the sport that much, but he felt obligated to play. So that's one thing that's very difficult to manage as a parent. You want the best for your child, but make sure you get them starting at an early age in a variety of different sports, because you never know which sport is going to interest them the most down the road. I mean, one of my kids, college basketball player, you know what he does now? He runs marathons.
Nice.
He didn't get that from me or my wife. I'm just telling you. But that competitive mentality took him to that level.
Nice.
And but we put all of our kids in a variety of different things just to give them some different experience. Now, when you combine that with a thought, I had an 8th grade mom just tell me that her daughter, who loved, a mother of an 8th grader whose daughter was heavy into softball, played year round since she was in 3rd, 4th grade. Her mom played softball, so she was pushing it pretty hard on her. She said, you know what she just told me? She doesn't want to play anymore. So this is going year round for 4 or 5 years, becoming one of the better players in the area. She gets to 8th grade where she can now qualify as a house school athlete. She could play for her high school team. And she had the confidence to tell her mom she didn't want to do it anymore.
Wow.
And her mom was floored.
Yep.
And you know what that meant was all that work maybe went awry because now she wanted to try different sports, but she's way behind all the other kids that played those sports. So that gives her even more of a challenge. So, kept her busy for 4 or 5 years, but was it the best approach? Hard to say.
If you burn them out, they're not going to want to play. Well, my daughter, she loved soccer from age 5 till junior year of high school, and the high school coach made her hate soccer.
Yeah, it can happen that fast. And honestly, I've been doing this for so long. If I hear a child say they love a sport, I'm a little skeptical. That doesn't mean I've tried to talk them out of it, but they may just be saying that because they know people want them to. There's a difference. So that goes back to, again, that strategy I have of asking a lot of questions. Right. My first daughter, my second child, she was one that loved to do 7-day-a-week workouts. I had a list of stuff for her to do, and she would do it. And I just used that as a test. And I kept asking her, are you sure you want to work this hard? Are you sure you want to work this hard? And she rarely answered. Finally, she's in 8th grade where she can kind of get more confidence for herself. She says, shut up, Dad, I want to do this. But it took her that long to have the confidence to speak for herself. But as a parent, I was trying to, are you sure you want it? Because she was busting it. She ended up playing college and being very successful in college as a basketball player, and now uses that experience in other areas of her life, of course. But that's why I ask a ton of questions, especially for those kids just really busting it out there.
So we got a question from the audience while we're talking here. From @WhyNotMe. What do most parents misunderstand about competition in youth sports?
That's an easy one. The biggest thing is the approach. Parents don't know a good coach from a bad one. Right. They're unsure which steps to take to help their child be successful. So that goes down to just the fundamentals of knowing what strategies are out there. That's why I spent the time to write The Wild World of Youth Sports. It's filled with 150 strategies that help me and that I watched that help kids become successful, and their parents utilizing these strategies to help their kids be successful. So I think that's the biggest thing. So often, unfortunately, if we're unsure of what a good coach looks like compared to a bad coach, we use whether we won the last game or not as a barometer of whether we're in a good situation. And I am telling you, that has nothing to do with it so often. May be a little bit of evidence of whether you're in a good situation, but it doesn't mean a whole lot to me. You could go undefeated in a season and still have a poor coach. Maybe a good recruiter that was smart enough to get all the best players to make them look good necessarily, but may not help them get to the next level. I found so often my best coaching jobs came from like 500 seasons. Because I kept working with the kids to get better and better. Now, that doesn't mean I can't take the best players in a particular grade and help them get better, but do not use a win and a loss to determine whether you're in a good situation or not.
Definitely. I always look at my second coaching thing I did was girls volleyball, 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade girls volleyball. Again, another sport I never played before. But I had coached the football team at this school, and the principal was one of my teachers, Sister Elizabeth Francis. She told me I needed to coach that for her too. And I said, I was so afraid of her from being a student of hers. I said, yes, I'll coach it. And that was the biggest challenge in my coaching life, was coaching those young women to play volleyball and keep them focused on volleyball and do that. But that was my biggest challenge as a coach, to learn that learning curve and get them to be on time and at least have fun playing the game.
And that's the biggest thing I find. And you know what, I ask some coaches sometimes that come in are all amped up, regardless of what sport they're coaching, and they hardly smile all day long while they're coaching. I literally go up to them and depending on the situation, I'll go up to them and say, you know what, if you'd smile more, your kids would probably smile more and enjoy what they're doing, because I'm watching the coach just be serious about every play. And I look over at the kids and none of them look like they're having fun, unless they actually score a point or, win a set in volleyball. Then they'll get, all excited. But that's where we have to really put it in perspective and what we're doing. We could still be an elite team, but smile while you're an elite team, and because most of these kids won't play college, they won't play professionally. That doesn't mean we're going to keep them from it, but think in terms of what will help generate that enthusiasm to do that extra work at home.
Definitely. And you hit a good point there. The pyramid gets pretty tight at the top for all these sports. So there may be 4,000 kids in the community that play baseball growing up, but only maybe 4 or 5 of them will make it to the elite level if they get that far. And that's the expectation management you have to do as a coach, to show them that have fun where you are, learn the game, be the best you can be here. And maybe that work and effort will put you up to the next level, but don't put all your eggs in that basket now.
And while you're doing that, you're helping them get a job and keep a job. Primarily, you're using that approach to help them be ready for anything down the road. My oldest son was it was a challenge for him to feel confident playing any sport. That's just who he was. But what he tells me now is the fact that he learned how to make mistakes in his youth career helps him every day in his work career be okay with messing up from time to time. That was huge for him. And so that's where he sees value to that. Even though he never felt like he was very good at anything that he played, he still has used it. And it didn't matter what my wife and I said to him, because he was getting better. He just didn't feel it because he wasn't, one of the top players in any of the sports. So, but he still uses it because we tried to help him in a very positive way. Now he helps, he uses those experiences every day of his life now as a dad. So it's pretty awesome.
So you can see it right there in your own house, how it works. And you can use that example when you go in front of other parents and teach them about coaching and how things can work just from the inside of your house out. And that's amazing.
Absolutely. And now our focus, because we're kind of tuned into our community, has been, and we've kind of mentioned it a little bit, but you can spend so much money competing in youth sports. We literally went coast to coast, spent thousands of dollars because we had it and we were willing to spend it for our kids. A lot of families don't have that. So now this last 5-6 years in particular, we've offered a lot of free opportunities because we see that opportunity gap, really widening. If you have a lot of money, there's a lot of opportunity out there for you, which is great. We don't want to slow that down. We want to give people an opportunity. But if you don't have a lot of money, so often there's not a lot of teams out there for you. So we have about 250 kids playing in our free opportunities here at our gym. And that's where our main focus is now, just to try to help every kid be able to use youth sports to learn valuable lessons.
That's outstanding. And like you said, travel ball, even if you're a family with just one kid, travel ball is expensive. Now, if you multiply that by multiple kids in different sports, you can go bankrupt pretty quickly trying to get to everything unless you have a big nest egg to start with.
And when you combine the amount of money some places want for you to participate with not knowing what a good coaching job necessarily looks like, because it takes time to figure that out. I mean, if you're talking about a 5th grader, 6th grader, you may not know till they're in 10th grade whether, everything they did back in 5th and 6th grade was smart. It's right. So, if you're willing just to throw money at it, I'm looking back now at all the money we spent. We probably could have cut that in half, because literally the quality of effort and the improvements our kids made was from what they did at home. And all we had to do is read a book, watch videos to figure that one out. We didn't have to travel anywhere to do it. So keep that in mind. Now, we want a good combination. I always like to say 75% of your effort should be those workouts, technique, fundamentals, that type of work. 25% maybe playing games, somewhere in that. But we have programs out there that are like 90% games. And oh, by the way, we might get in the gym once a week. I mean, are we really helping our kids get better?
No.
But that's where the money's at.
Yeah.
I mean, our massive youth sports centers are perfectly fine with that as long as you're spending money in theirs. But I've found that's not necessary.
As long as you dedicate your money to them, they're happy with it. So the vendors are very happy at that point. Got a couple more questions that come in while we're talking. This one's from Conclusions Jump 2. How can coaches balance discipline without crushing a child's confidence? Thank you.
That's a tough one, because like we had talked about a little earlier, every child may be a little bit different. So that's where I ask a lot of questions. And I try to be positive 90% of the time. Some kids are a tougher sell. If I see kids giving effort and trying and staying positive, then I am very convincing on how they're getting better. But it takes a while for them to feel it, especially if they're smart. If they're smart and know maybe they're the 8th, 9th, 10th best player on the team, it's hard to convince them otherwise. So we try to give them effort, where we try to help them focus on that effort and help them, gauge their improvement based on where they started. And that's a tough one. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience as parents and as coaches. Remember, I call it patient aggression. Right. We want to be very aggressive on how hard we work with our kids day after day after day. Be patient with the results. Don't expect huge results quickly. So with that in mind, some kids are really there's nothing more powerful than a child that starts to feel confident in themselves. Yeah. That's what this is all about. And so that's what I love to see. And as a coach, I've so often witnessed kids get better and parents don't even notice, and I've got so many stories just about that, where parents missed out. And now when you combine these phones that we're focused on, I can conduct a practice and look over while the kids are out busting it. I look over and all the parents are staring at their phones. Yep. It's amazing. And it's sad. I even had a 3rd grader, get this, a 3rd grade girl at the beginning of one of our practices. We do the same little stretching plyometric workout, do a couple laps just to get them warmed up, get them ready to go. After they all do that, she comes back and says, "Coach, I have a question." I said, "Yes." She said, "Why are you asking us all to do this work? And the parents are over there staring at their electronic devices."
From the mouths of babes.
Couldn't argue with that. That's a 3rd grader that sees it.
Yep.
Now you combine that with the fact that kids will want to improve and give more effort if they see acknowledgement from an adult. Us adults have to be watching them. That's one thing I stress to every coach, every adult during practices. Watch them. We know you're going to during games usually because you want to see them win. During practices, watch them, because when they achieve something for the first time, they want people to see it. And that's huge. That's where I was able to help our kids bypass a lot of people, because I was constantly watching and helping them in a positive way.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's outstanding. I drove from here up to Louisville to see my niece play the volleyball tournament. And I got to her court. It was like 50 courts of little girls playing volleyball and screaming and yelling. It was a very loud environment, but every parent had a tripod with an iPad on it, filming it, but not watching the game at all. They were talking to each other while the game was on. I was like, me and my cousin Debbie and her husband were sitting there watching the game, and we talked in between sets, but everyone else was just focused on themselves and their cameras on. That's it.
Yeah.
They're totally absent parenting.
That's a sad reality. And I can't imagine what it'd be like growing up as a child right now going through that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And it just convinces me that our kids are very resilient, even with these challenges that they have. We're fortunate, but at the same time, I've seen a lot of kids that have really suffered from that type of mentality as well. Not easy.
It definitely isn't. We have a couple more questions before we start to close out here. This one's from Jake. He said he apologized if we already covered this, but how do you deal with parents pushing for more playing time for their child?
That's easy for me as a coach because I let every kid play. I am so, I want to win just as bad as everybody else. Seriously. I want to win every game. I hate to lose. At the same time, I give every kid an opportunity to play if they've been coming to practice. So I don't have, let's take basketball as an example. And I've coached probably 4 or 5 different sports over the years. In basketball, it always seems like we have our best player as a point guard. We have our tallest person down as a post. We start with those 2 concepts. Well, no, that's not me. I've got 5 point guards out there. I've got 5 people that post up because I don't know what they're going to be when they're older.
Right.
As far as playing time goes, my worst player, you wouldn't notice any different from my best player because they all give opportunities. One example, here's a strategy I don't see a lot of in basketball. I would tell my kids that if you get a rebound or a steal, you're the point guard, bring it down. I don't care if you're the tallest, slowest, whatever. You just earn the ability to be the point guard. And you know what that's done? And that's a difference between if you watch a game and you hear a coach yell, get it to a point guard, get it to a point guard. Well, okay, what if that, I think in the big picture, as an example, I want all my kids to play high school athletics.
Right.
Okay. If I've got one point guard that goes to this school and nobody else knows how to, nobody else that's going to that school has practiced being a point guard, what happens if the point guard decides to quit basketball? Okay, that school suffers.
Yep.
I want every child to have different experiences. I don't know how tall they're going to be. I don't know how much they're going to grow. So I don't make those decisions for the kids when they're in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I give them opportunities to play every different position, win or lose. Give them opportunities to bring the ball down, do all the different things. And it's called development, right? It's called technique. It's called fundamentals. That's what it looks like when you coach like that at the youth level.
Definitely. Jake said that sounds good. Like a good system. Loves the rebound idea.
Absolutely. And you know what I've heard coach after coach say? Well, because I'll ask him, hey, you want to play in this tournament on March 5th or whatever? No, my point guard's not going to be with us. My response always is, well, develop another point guard, dude. I mean, your kids are in 6th grade. You're going to shut down your team because one person's missing. I mean, come on.
Star, the 6th grade star.
Happened to be his daughter, just saying.
Well, there it is. Okay. That puts a little more light on it.
Just a tad.
And we'll take this last question from the audience, then we'll start wrapping up here. This is from Packing Sal. What advice would you give parents navigating today's youth sports culture?
I would say tune it out, but keep your eyes and ears open at the same time. Don't get caught up in the drama. Don't get caught up. We could talk for hours just about this. Crazy things happen. Everybody knows that. Don't get caught up in it. Try to be that person that helps slow things down. When your child sees you respond to negativity in a positive way, you are helping develop your child to be a solid citizen. So often when I'm telling people that are going nuts out during games and starting to argue, I say, you know what my biggest concern is what our kids are listening to and watching. I had a mom one time when a fight was almost going out on one of our courts say, I just want to see somebody go down. And she says that around about 10 kids. I'm like, seriously? I mean, that's what we got. So, I mean, we really need to be that buffer between our kids and what's happening, just like in anything in life. We don't have to explain to our kids everything that happened word for word or, moment to moment. You help them take every situation and teach them in a positive way how to do things better or how they did things better. That's the approach I always took, and it definitely works. It works over time. You can get so mad just watching one game in a weekend and you're like, this youth sports stuff is crazy. And there they go again. I don't even go that route. I just looking at my kids and saying, hey, that's why we don't act like that, and move on and don't let it bother them. So it's a tough one. It's a tough challenge, but having done this for 40 years, I started to get pretty good at it.
You might have some knowledge.
Just a tad.
Yes. All right. So we answered all those questions. We had a great conversation for the last 50 minutes or so. What's the best way for someone in the audience to reach out and talk to you? Maybe if they want to learn something from you or just ask you questions about their coaching style and maybe how they can make it better.
Absolutely. You can go to GaryThrapp.com. I do have a website there. They can see some of our community work. If I do some high school events as well with our local high schools, then go to QCUsports.com. Either one of those, and get in touch with me. That would be awesome. I just love hearing good quality stories and challenging stories from around the country. I've got good contacts from all over the United States, and we're trying to develop a good network of people that like to coach in a positive way, like to parent in a positive way, and use every opportunity to help their child be the best.
Outstanding. And MisFit Nation, that address is going across the bottom of the screen if you're watching this on YouTube. And it's also in the comments if it's on Facebook or anywhere else right now. The address is GaryThrapp.com. Go there, and I'm sure there's a contact me button on there. Contact, and Gary will get back in touch with you and hopefully point you in the right direction or give the advice you need.
Absolutely.
Our final question, Gary. This one's one I think you'll do real well at. What's 3 things the MisFit Nation can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
Wow. Be non-judgmental. There are a lot of different approaches out there. One thing that's helped me go from being called, I'm going to go deep here, being called a racist 15 years ago from people when I try to help a situation, to having with the same people loving relationships, is that I'm not judgmental and I get over things fast. I don't let things bother me over time. You got to let it go. That's number 1. Number 2, keep your eyes and ears open. There are kids out there suffering in so many different ways. We need more adults out there willing to step up and help every child. And number 3, if you don't like the way something is being done, you can fix it by being a leader and starting something yourself. That's one thing that motivated me to be a even more intense coach, was that my first child's first experience on a baseball team, the coach was absolutely horrible. That told me, okay, I could complain to the man, or I could just start coaching and try to help fix it over time. And that's the approach I took. I don't complain to anybody. I just work harder. That was 3, wasn't it, Rich?
This is. You got it. That's perfect.
That wasn't bad.
3 good ones. It wasn't a hard one. I knew you would have great answers for it just based on our conversation. So thank you for that. And thank you again for joining us tonight and sharing your knowledge of youth sports and your love of it. I can just feel your inspiration for it and your drive to make sure youth sports is being taken care of now.
Don't anticipate stopping anytime soon. Good. Appreciate it.
MisFit Nation, thanks for tuning in tonight. And remember, a day tomorrow is 100% better than one with you is better than one without you. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I know hearing temporary problem, that might make you feel even worse, but it's something that you're going through right now. just take a deep breath. Phone a friend. Pick out that one little 1-inch piece of paper that's in your wallet. Dial those 3 numbers. Those 3 friends of yours that are on that and those names that are on there, they want to hear from you today, tomorrow, and the next day. If you don't want to talk to them, you're a little embarrassed, dial 988. Take option 1 if you're a veteran, or follow the prompts. They will help you. If you don't want to do either of those, just, oh, no, that's all crazy talk. Contact us. info@themisfitnation.com, Steven@themisfitnation.com, or Jake@themisfitnation.com. Once you get in contact with us, we will call you and keep you on the line until we get someone in your local area to help you, because we need you with us tomorrow too. Misfit Nation, this has been a great show. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Until next time, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.